Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this regular council meeting of Georges River Council. I declare the meeting open at exactly 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. And could we please stand so we can do the acknowledgement to country national anthem and acknowledgement to Anzac Day. I'd like to acknowledge the Bidjigal people of the Eora Nation, who are the traditional custodians of the land, waters and sky in the Georges River area. I pay my respect to elders past, present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who live, work and meet on these lands. We have the national anthem.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is God by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, all beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains that let us sing, advance Australia fair. Beneath the radiant Southern Cross, we'll toil with hearts and hands to make this Commonwealth of ours renowned of all the lands. For those who've come across the seas, we've boundless plains to share. With courage let us all combine to advance Australia fair. In joyful strains that let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Acknowledgement of Anzac Day. The Council acknowledges the brave Australians who have served and those who have died as a result of war. They went with songs to the battle. They were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget. Could we remain standing for 1 minute's silence? Thank you. Thank you. Please remain standing for the opening prayer, which tonight will be led by Reverend Dr. Brian Hill.
Will you join me in prayer? Our gracious God and our Heavenly Father, thank you that you created all things, and by your will we have our beings. Thank you for the beautiful nation that we live in. Thank you for the security and for the prosperity that you have given us through sacrifices that are made in the past and wise decisions, the shoulders on whom we are standing on. We do commit tonight to you. We do pray for those who are making presentations tonight. We pray for the council officers. We thank you for their work. And we pray for Georges River Council. May you lead them with your wisdom and insight, that they will, through their decisions, deliberations, govern with justice and fairness, having regard to all. And we pray that in doing so, peace and prosperity, tranquility and quietness will ensue. And we pray these in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please be seated. We'll now go on to apologies. I only have the one apology from Councillor Ashwini Ambi Paha. I don't think there are any other apologies. Can I please have a motion to accept the apology and grant a leave of absence? Councillor Borg moved. Councillor Ficara, I've got seconded. I'll put that. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried. Requests. There are no requests to attend meeting via audio visual link. So now, our notice of live streaming of the council meeting. Staff and public are reminded that this meeting is being recorded for minute-taking purposes and is also being webcast live on council's website. This recording will be made available on council's website. The order of business is as shown in the agenda. Council's Code of Meeting Practice prohibits the electronic recording of meetings without the express permission of council. We have some disclosures of interest, councillors. The first one is from Councillor Marnie, a non-significant non-pecuniary interest in item CCL 022423 and QWN 16-23, part of the environment, ENV 009-23 Glen Lee. For the reasons he is a member of Oakley Flora and Fauna Conservation Society, and he indicates I have worked at several planting sessions organised by the Society on a voluntary basis to help regenerate, revegetate more reserve. As this is a non-significant, non-pecuniary disclosure, Council Marnie will participate in the discussion and voting on this item. Councillor Marnie, another one, declared a non-significant, non-pecuniary interest in item CCL 031-23 applications pursuant to the Council Ward Discretionary Fund, April 2023. For the reasons he is a member of Oakley Flora and Fauna Conservation Society. One of the Society's office bearers is related to office bearer of the place Patchworkers. The intended recipient, as this is a non-significant, non-pecuniary disclosure, Councillor Marnie will participate in the discussion and voting. Councillor Marnie declared a non-significant, non-pecuniary interest in item CCL 02623, report of the Assets and Infrastructure Committee held on the 11th of April 2023. For the reason he is acquainted with one of the non-voting members of the local traffic committee who was a former work colleague. As this is a non-significant, non-pecuniary disclosure, Councillor Marnie will participate in the discussion and voting on this item. Myself declared a pecuniary interest in item CCL 031-23, the Council Ward Fund Discretionary Funds application, April 2023, for the reasons that this is an application by Councillor Konjalski to grant $1,000 to the Greek Orthodox Church of Kogarah, item CWF 27-22-23, as my office provides architectural consultancy work to the church. As this is a pecuniary, I will not participate in discussions or voting on this item. Deputy Mayor Councillor Lansbury declared a non-significant non-pecuniary interest in item CCL 027-23, report of the Community and Culture Committee meeting held on the 11th of April 2023, C0M009-23 quarterly community property report, 1st of January 2023 to the 31st of March 2023, for the reasons that her son is a life member and committee member at Cast Park Football Club, which is located at Charles Perry Reserve, named in the report. As this is a non-significant, non-pecuniary disclosure, Deputy Mayor Councillor Lansbury will remain in the meeting and take part in the consideration and voting on this item. Councillor Symington declared a non-significant, non-pecuniary interest in item NM020-23, lighting up Hurstville Civic Precinct for World Inflammatory Bowel Disease Day 2023, for the reasons that the Speaker, Cara Punch, is a work colleague at New South Wales Parliament. As this is a non-significant, non-pecuniary disclosure, Councillor Simon will participate in the discussion voting on this item. Councillor Liu declared a non-significant, non-pecuniary interest in item MM011-23. Congratulations to St George Swim Club and St Susie Sea Devils Swim Club on their performance at the 2023 Australian Age and MCH Championships, for the reasons that MC stands for mixed class, by the way, for the reasons that she is a committee member of St George Swim Club. Florence Yang, one of the swimmers being mentioned in the report, is her daughter. As this is a non-significant, non-pecuniary disclosure, Councillor Liu will participate in the discussion and voting on this item. Councillor Konjowski disclosed a non-significant, non-pecuniary interest in item CCL 027-23, report of the Community and Culture Committee meeting held on the 11th of April 2023, COM 009-23 quarterly community property report, 1st of January 2023 to 31st of March 2023, for the reason that two of his children coach at Lugano FC, who are lessees at Gannon's Park, and are recipients of annual subsidies in relation to the lease. As this is a non-significant, non-pecuniary disclosure, Councillor Konjowski will remain in the meeting and take part in the consideration and voting on this item. Councillor Picara declared a non-significant, non-pecuniary interest in NM020-23, lighting up the Hurstville Civic Precinct for the World Inflammatory Bowel Disease Day 2023, for the reasons that the Speaker, Cara Punch, is a work colleague. As this is a non-significant, non-pecuniary disclosure, Councillor Picara will participate in the discussions and voting on this item. And finally, Councillor Elmere declared a pecuniary interest in item MM011-23. Congratulations to St George Swim Club and St Susie Sea Devil Swim Club on their performance at the 2023 Australian Age and MCH Championships, for the reason that he is a financial sponsor of the St Susie Sea Devils Swim Club. As this is a pecuniary interest, Councillor Neal will not participate in the discussions and voting on these items. That finalises all the declarations of interest, and we're now going on to the public participation on items on the agenda. Tonight, there are 7 speakers registered for tonight's meeting. Speaker number 7 has written a written submission and will be read to the meeting by the staff. I would remind the speakers that speakers have 3 minutes, a 3-minute time limit. The first sound you hear indicates that you have 1 minute remaining. At the second sound, please conclude your comments. The first speaker is Gavin Shah in person, and he'll be speaking on CCL 023-23, Beverly Hills Town Centre Master Plan, A Way Forward. Mr. Shah, thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the opportunity of speaking today. Our family have been in Beverly Hills for well over 40 years. Business owners, commercial property owners and residents. It's been heartbreaking watching the commercial strip of Beverly Hills go downhill over the years. Vacant shops, struggling businesses and deteriorating building facades. The truth is that we really need help. The main objective of the Beverly Hills Master Plan was to revalorize the Beverly Hills Local Centre. The development controls in the original master plan allowed for development to occur on both sides of King George's Road and provided a way forward for real change to occur. Unfortunately, the proposed amended plan has changed that. The net result of the changes for the eastern side are that our floor space ratio has gone from 3.5 to 1 to 2.5 to 1. Our 2 car parks essentially have been removed, a small amount of angle parking, but basically the majority of it to be a plaza, and the building height reduced by 2 stories. So essentially that means that redevelopment is not viable and will not occur. I mean, the reality is currently we have a 2-to-1 floor space ratio. There has been 0 development. Why would we think that going to 2.5 to 1 would suddenly spark development? It won't happen. If you look at the western side, with a small dedication of land, there are 3.5 to 1. I truly don't understand why the eastern side has been so substantially disadvantaged over the western side. You know, with all due respect, the process to date has been a failure and it's dragged on for years. We propose the council adopt the proposed way forward as per the minutes from the committee meeting on the proviso that the eastern side is treated the same as the western side with regard to floor space ratio and height limits. It's time for council to move forward with the master plan. I can understand why some residents would be delighted if no development had occurred, but what about the business owners? And they are doing it tough. You can't say one thing and mean another. You go to Beverly Hills of an evening now, it used to be thriving. It's dead. You know, we manage a lot of properties along King George's Road. All the business owners are saying they're doing it tough. You know, the commercial property owners, years ago there were no vacant shops. Now all of a sudden they're popping up everywhere. We have a housing crisis. What about the young couples that want to live in our great suburb? It's so convenient. And also for people that have been in the area for a long time that want to downsize, there are no options. I mean, look, Beverly Hills is not a little country town. It's conveniently located. It's got great transport and great amenities. You know, it's time for something to happen. We hope and trust the council will do the right thing and put forward a master plan that will allow us to become a thriving suburb again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. The next speaker is Mr. Ian Cady on behalf of MERCOM. Again, it's the Beverly Hills Town Centre Master Plan, A Way Forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. My name is Ian Cady. I'm representing Nico. I'm a campaigner representing the Association of Owners.
Oh, yes. Sorry. I won't repeat, I was just introducing myself. But I'm a town planner representing an association of owners on the western side of King George's Road. The master plan before council tonight has been before council in various forms since the amalgamation of council back in 2016. In this time, there have been numerous consultation processes and deferrals. However, renewal of the centre is clearly consistent with all relevant strategic planning policy and sound urban planning practices. A casual walk through the centre makes it clear that revitalisation is long overdue, and the revitalisation will not occur without significant incentive. If this had not occurred to date, and without significant incentive, there is no reason for this to change. The current critical shortage of housing across Sydney only makes it more important to progress with projects such as the town centre renewal, including the delivery of much needed increase in well-located housing. While some issues in relation to the delivery of new open space and road linkages exist, I know that such issues do not relate to the western side of King George's Road. Even to the east of King George's Road, a decision to proceed tonight will not lock in final outcomes. It will merely continue the process to resolve these issues. After exhibition of the master plan as recommended, it will then be necessary for Council to prepare a formal planning proposal, obtain gateway approval from the Department of Planning, address any gateway requirements, and then exhibit a formal draft for consideration prior to making a recommendation to Gazette of rezoning. That is a significant process in which the detailed issues can all be resolved. We're not asking for things to be finalised tonight. I therefore request that Council adopts the recommendation of Council staff and the Environment and Planning Committee. If Council cannot agree on the detailed issues on the eastern half of the site, I would still urge to proceed, but if there are still concerns on the east, I urge you to at least commence the process on the western side of King George's Road.
Thank you. Our next speaker, I believe, is here, Mr. Ben Balzer in person, Beverly Hills Town Centre Master Plan, a way forward. Thank you, Mr. Balzer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and councillors, for letting me speak tonight. I'm Dr. Ben Balzer. I've been a general practitioner in Beverly Hills since 1988. I grew up in the local area and I lived in the local area until 1994. So I've been very concerned that Beverly Hills has unfortunately been going backwards since 1988. Although the suburb itself is beautiful and still very popular, the town centre is really very bad. So, and you know, much amenity's been lost for locals. It looks very run down. There are shops empty. New businesses which come into the area are often failing. So we really need to have something done, something positive. And I must say, I thought the original master plan was a very wise plan to revitalise the whole town centre, and obviously an enormous effort being put in by the council. Now I see it being cut down, and that really concerns me, which is why I'm here tonight. So, I mean, the proposed changes are insufficient to generate any realistic commercial interest, and it'll just make a failed suburb that will at best be very slowly changed over more than a decade. So another concern is that Beverly Hills is a major gateway to the Georges River Council area, and I think that its appearance does reflect poorly on Georges River Council as a whole, and I think it affects you know, the perception of all of Sydney about our whole council area, and I do feel there's a little bit of urgency in attending to that. So another concern which has been raised, which I've noticed just from speaking to local business owners, is that many local residents who have been against the project have been on the eastern, who live on the eastern side, have been misinformed by someone somewhere along the way that their properties were going to be compulsory acquired at their valuation, whereas most of them would in fact have been in a position of receiving a life-changing increase in their value of their property. And yet people who oppose the brilliant original master plan seem to have put this idea into their heads. So I do hope the council could speak to some residents about that matter. So thank you very much for your attention, and good night now.
Thank you, Dr. Belson. The next person is Mr. Brian Shaw, speaking on the same topic, Beverly Hills Town Centre Master Plan, a way forward.
Good evening, councillors. I have a totally different view of what we've just been listening to. My family moved into Beverly Hills in 1910. There was only one business there, and it was the post office. And from that time on, everything grew. What we've neglected is the main reason that Beverly Hills Shopping Centre is failing is the state government. What have we done? We put a main road through the middle of the shopping centre. We've destroyed the businesses there. From the first plan that was done in the 1980s, The only thing we received was lovely garden down the middle of the street. Thank you, Mr. Larter, for looking after it. Palm trees, which have gradually disappeared, and really nothing else. The business owners who were there have had parking taken away from them, so where do the customers park? The people who live behind the western side have already been done over in my street, and it's really interesting because I don't know that those in 3 and 4 story home units are going to like what's behind them. And Ms. Bishop, I really don't know how people are going to get in there to go and dig out what needs to be done. The lane is not wide enough, and I tell you what, there'll be a riot from the people in Hampton Street if the trucks go up the little lane and end up coming into Hampton Street. We've had 20 years of that. We don't want any more. Okay? Beverly Hills is a valley. It's not a flat piece of paper. It is Wallow Creek Valley. It has a number of creeks, 4 creeks run through it, and it floods. 1972, I remember rolling my trousers up to go to the station in Hampton Street because it flooded. The houses from halfway down, from the lane in the middle down, had their houses filled with water. Now, I know there's been Sydney Water looked after that, but it's going to happen again. There's a stormwater drain that runs down the lane between King George's Road and Hampton Street. The cinema, when it was going to be rebuilt, was told if you want the cinema, you're going to have to put 5-story underground parking. And everyone laughed and said, anyone parked down there in a flood will drown. Now, nothing's being done. Nick Smerdley and I have walked through there, and we know what the situation is, but nothing is being done. Now, if you look at Beverly Hills as it is, we've had 3 plans that have not gone forward. The main reason they have not gone forward is the property owners along King George's Road and the state government have decided it's not big enough, it's not enough money. I really think it's about time people actually considered the suburb as a whole. This plan, we didn't even understand it until the now Premier actually called a public meeting at Beverly Hills and the Mayor addressed it. It was really serious because no one understood. If you come into West Beverly Hills, you'll find no one knows what's being proposed at the moment. I do have more if someone could give me an extension of time.
No, we don't offer extensions, Mr.
I
Shaw.
think you do.
No, Mr. Shaw, we
I
don't
think
offer
you
extensions.
do.
No, we don't.
When
We've
did that rule
just been
When did
told,
that
Mr.
rule
Shaw.
change?
Sorry?
I've been in this room since the council was
we don't,
amalgamated and
Mr.
it can be
Shaw,
moved.
we don't offer an extension. I was just told by the generator, he's confirmed it, and we don't offer an
Mr. Tuxford, when did the rule change? You've been here since. I don't want to hear from you.
Thank you, Mr. Mills.
Mr. Shaw has been provided the response from you, Mr. Mayor. I don't think that it's
I will let the
necessary that we go back and forth between.
no, I'll let the general manager answer it for the last time,
Yeah.
and whatever he indicates, you'll have to abide by Mr. Shaw.
Thank you. And if you can provide an apology to the council officer.
Once we finish, Mr. Mayor.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, look, there is no extension for public participation. And I can just look over at my legal people over there to make sure that that's.
Double checking the words precisely, so I say before you.
Thank
What
you.
was that? Sorry.
There's no further questions.
That's similar,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Shaw.
similar, Mr Mayor, that there's no question of the ruling of the Deputy Mayor at a committee meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
I will confirm that it's a strict time limit. We sometimes allow people out of courtesy to complete a sentence, so we don't cut them off halfway, but we don't provide
Well,
extension times.
as you've seen, I've cut Mr. Shaw a bit of slack by giving him 45 seconds more. Thank you. The next speaker is Mr. Russell Green, talking on the property matter, legal rights of access, Taylor's Reserve, Lugano.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Please apologise, I've lost my voice, so I'll do my best.
Thank you.
My name's Russell Green and my family and I live at 2A Woodlands Avenue, Lugano. While we are certainly appreciative that Council is considering providing our Lot 2 with access off Taylor's Reserve, I think it is important to highlight the following. This is our family home and we have lived there for over 10 years and plan to do so for many more. When we purchased the property in 2008, it already consisted of 2 lots and had a council-approved garage with access off Taylor's Reserve. The matter of formal access to Taylor's Reserve for the residents has been ongoing for many years. Both of our lots 1 and 2 were always included as properties to be provided with formal access in all council reports and documents. However, when the resolution was passed on 14th December 2020, it was amended to exclude our properties for undisclosed reasons. It is worth noting that the legal advice we have received is that Lot 2 still fits within Council's resolution of 14th December 2020 and should be provided with a right of way. Over many years, Council have approved subdivisions, houses and garages on the properties adjacent to the reserve without formalising the access. This issue has been created by Council, and while they corrected this issue for the other residents, our 2 properties were the only ones excluded. In addition, the sealed roadway along our frontage to Taylor's Reserve was removed, which was not part of the original Council resolution. There appear to be a number of inconsistencies that have been carried out by Council officers in implementing Council's resolution, which directly affect our properties. We have written to Council several times, most recently on the 4th of January 2023. However, we are yet to receive a reply and no one has ever been able to provide an explanation as to why the road was removed and why numbers 1053, 1057 and 1059 Forest Road were provided with legal access when their properties already had access to a public road, which is no different to our Lot 1. As a result, we now have no access to our council-approved garage. It is requested that Council resolve that these issues be investigated further. In addition, it should also be noted that we were not advised by Council that this matter was being considered tonight. I would have thought that we would have been advised of such an important matter which affects our property directly. We have also had several meetings with Council officers to try and resolve the access issue. We were advised to amend our boundary adjustment and Council would provide access to Lot 2 as part of that application. Council even extended the access way along the frontage of Lot 2 so the access could be provided. However, the application was subsequently refused and the access issue still has not been resolved. In conclusion, from our point of view, it seems that for whatever reason our properties have been singled out and we feel unfairly targeted as a result. All we are asking is that our properties be treated in the same way as the other properties were. We are only asking for what is fair and just. We request that Council provide Lot 2 with formal access of Taylor's Reserve at no cost and on the same terms as provided to the other residents. And finally, I invite all the councillors to come down on site because if you actually have a look, it'll explain. You'll see what has happened and it's really affected our property. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. The next speaker is Ms. Zakara Punch, and she is talking on lighting up the Hurstville Civic Precinct for World Inflammatory Bowel Disease Day.
Unknown participant is now joining.
Thank you. Ready? Ms. Punch,
Hello?
by all means address the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Cara Punch. I've had Crohn's disease for over 19 years, and today I'm requesting your support for Councillor Symington's motion for World IBD Day for sufferers of Crohn's and colitis by lighting up council premises in purple, the international colour of IBD awareness, on Friday, 19 May. Each May is a chance for Australians to understand about what it is like to live with Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, collectively known as inflammatory bowel disease, IBD. Australia has one of the highest rates of prevalence and incidence in the world, and each year, more and more young people are diagnosed. It costs Australia more than $3.1 billion every year in hospital costs, productivity losses, and economic costs. While sufferers may look fine and well, it is an invisible disability, with many individuals facing life-threatening complications. Sufferers are often hospitalised, are on extremely immunosuppressive medications, and require serious surgery. Many people living with these illnesses stay silent about the day-to-day issues they face. These are lifelong and incurable diseases, and if councillors demonstrate support for this motion, you would be empowering people by raising awareness. Lighting up venues across our state helps start conversations in the community about these illnesses. Crohn's and colitis sufferers need life-changing research along with more knowledge, better services, access to the best treatment options to improve health outcomes and overall quality of life. Raising awareness will only help with these objectives. This year, the Big Banana, Manly Town Hall, Newcastle Clock Face, Goulburn Visitor Centre, Nowra Library, West Connect, Luna Park, Rockdale and Botany Town Halls, and the Lake Macquarie Multi-Arts Pavilion are supporting raising awareness by shining a light on World IBD Day, and I'm hoping the Georges River Council can also join these venues. Participating sites will be listed on the Crohn's and Colitis Australia website, encouraging people to visit the venue and post to their social media accounts. Photos of the sites will be promoted to 35,000 followers on Crohn's and Colitis Australia social media channels and acknowledged in the Inside Insight magazine and e-newsletters to supporters and members Australia-wide, in addition to the worldibdday.org website. I'd like to thank the Council for your time tonight and make a special thanks to Councillor Symington, who has displayed her overwhelming support for sufferers in the community by helping raise awareness of World IBD Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bunch. The next speaker, and it'll be read out by one of the council officers, is Mr. Robbie Cox, and he's talking on the congratulations to St George Swim Club and Sans Souci Sea Devils Swim Club on their performance at the 2023 Australian Age and Multi-Class Championships. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Councillors. I am Robbie Cox, the General Manager of Off the Block Swimming Academy, which manages both St George Swim Club and Sans Souci Sea Devils Swim Club squad programs. Thank you all for the opportunity to speak on behalf of St George Swim Club and Sans Souci Sea Devils Swim Club following their tremendous performances 2 weeks ago on the Gold Coast at the 2023 Australian Age and MC Age Swimming Championships. Firstly, the St George Swim Club has 8 swimmers representing at the championships, with 5 of them competing at the national level for the first time. Bethany Hughes, Lucinda McCoy, Jessica Henderson, Isabel Esposito and Julia King all put in amazing performances and walked away with personal best times. Lachlan Lau is one of our multi-class athletes who competed at the champs as well. Lachlan made 4 finals with a top placing of 5th in Australia, which is awesome to see. Darcy Button, competing at his first national champs, made 2 finals in the 50 metre and 100 metre breaststroke and swam personal best times. Florence Yang made 3 finals over the week, also for the 50 butterfly, 100 and 200 metre freestyle, swimming best times also during the week. For the Sans Souci Sea Devils Swim Club, they had 5 swimmers representing during the championships. 4 of the swimmers were first-time qualifiers, which is awesome to see growth and progression in the club. Matthias Soka, Sienna Marzik, Giselle Galea and Alice Simsek all swam personal best times and improved their national rankings against the best swimmers in our country. Tamika Johnson had an amazing week, competing in 7 finals and came home with 3 silver medals for the club, which is a phenomenal achievement. These results are a tremendous reflection of the club's committee, swimmers and coaches' progression at both clubs over the past year, and with both clubs having a strong junior development in their programs the next 12 months and beyond looks extremely bright and promising.
Thank you, Ms. McKinley. That finalises all the addresses to council. Now we need to go to the confirmation of the minutes of the previous meetings. And I need a mover and seconder for CCL 023-23, confirmation of minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 27th of March 2023. I have a mover in the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Lansbury, and the seconder in Councillor Lisbon. Is there any discussion on these minutes? Okay, I'll put them. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried. I'm now going to go to a couple of mayoral minutes. The first one has to do with the congratulations to St George Swim Club and St Susie Sea Devils Swim Club on their performance at the 2023 Australian Age and Multi-Class Age Championships. You've heard from Mr. Robbie Cox in the statement that was just read out. I won't go over all the details. I think there are enough details there. I'll just for the record put some background, and I just wanted to say that the 2023 Age and Multi-Class Championships were held at the Gold Coast Aquatic Centre from 7th of April to the 15th of April 2023. In total, 9 qualifiers from St George Swim Club and 5 qualifiers from St Susie Sea Devils participated at these championships, achieving remarkable results. As you've heard from Mr. Robbie Clark, who's the General Manager of Off the Blocks Swimming Academy, they are extremely remarkable results. But of the 9 qualifiers from St George Swim Club, 3 members participated in the finals. Florence Yang ranked 9th in girls 15 years 200 metres freestyle. Lachlan Lowe ranked 7th in boys 12 to 18 years 50 metre butterfly multi-class. Darcy Button ranked 10th in the boys 14 years 50 metre backstroke. Of the 5 qualifiers from St Susie Sea Devils, 1 member participated in the finals. Tamika Johnson ranked 7th in girls 17 years 200 metres individual medley and 2nd in girls 17 years 50 100. Darcy Button ranked 10th in the Thank you. Of the 5 qualifiers from St Susie Sea Devils, 1 member participated in the finals. Tamika Johnson ranked 7th in girls 17-year-olds 200 metre individual medley and 2nd in the girls 17 years 50, 100 and 200 metre backstroke. Councillors, my motion is that Council congratulates the participants from the St George Swim Club and St Susie Sea Devil Swim Club, the coaches and the volunteers for achieving remarkable results at the 2023 Australian Age Championships and Age and Multi-Class Championships, and the Mayor writes to the swim clubs to congratulate them. Does anyone want to talk to this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would like to.
Councillor Konjalski, yes.
Thank you. I'd like to echo the words of our speaker, Robbie Cox, but further, I too would like to congratulate the swimmers and in particular Florence Jiang, who's the daughter of Councillor Nancy Liu. Not everyone knows, understands or realises the sacrifices made by athletes to reach the levels of greatness that they attain. But it's not just the athletes, councillors, it's the whole family that makes sacrifices. And I'd like to acknowledge Councillor Nancy Liu and her efforts. Swimmers in particular train really early in the mornings, and often it's around 4 o'clock. And in years gone by, our meetings wouldn't end often until 1 a.m. And Councillor Liu
would still get up at 3 o'clock and take her daughter down to the pool at 4 a.m. to start the training. And I think that's just unbelievable. I'd also like to say what a fantastic job Councillor Liu has done to juggle her family commitments and her public life or public service role. So congratulations, Florence, and also congratulations, Councillor Nancy Liu.
Thank you, Councillor Kantoski. Would anybody else like to make a few comments? Thank you. Well, I'll put my motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried, and we go to the next mayoral minute, which is the Anzac Day commemorations in Georges River. The background, of course, I'm sure you're all very familiar with. That tomorrow, the 25th of April 2023, we commemorate Anzac Day and gather to remember those who have served for our nation and reflect on their service, courage and loyalty. Our local RSL sub-branches have organised commemorations and dawn services on Sunday, the 23rd of April and Tuesday, the 25th of April, respectively. Myself and fellow councillors will be attending these services to represent the Georges River community, and I encourage everyone in our community to remember and recognise the more than 100,000 Australian servicemen, women who have lost their lives in military operations. Before I put the motion, which is that Council recognises local Anzac Day commemorations and thank all the organisers for maintaining these strong local traditions, I do want to bring to your attention, I know that a number of councillors did attend a commemoration service on Sunday morning. I attended the one at Mortdale Memorial Parks at the Cenotaph there, which was a commemoration service conducted by the Mortdale RSL sub-branch. And I've got to say, I was rather moved by the ceremony, and especially when you give consideration there were so many young people attending and providing prayers and the like. But one of the speeches that actually summed up Anzac Day to me, and the meaning of Anzac Day, was a prologue from the President, Mr. John Delaney. And I got to say, it really did sum up what our feelings, understandings, and memories that we've had since we've been growing up with regards to the commemoration. I'd like to read it out to you, if you just bear with me. And this is from Mr. John Delaney. On this day, above all days, we recall those who, in the great tragedy of war, gave their lives for Australia and for freedom of all mankind, who still sleep amid the ridges of Gallipoli and the terraced hills of Palestine, in the lovely cemeteries of France, or the shimmering haze of the Libyan desert, amid the mountains and olive groves of Greece and the Middle East, and the jungle of Malaya, New Guinea, and the Pacific Islands, and rugged Korea and the unhappy land of Vietnam, amid loving friends in our mother country and our own land, and in unknown resting places in every continent and every sea. We remember all who have since fallen by our side in both world wars, in the air and on the sea and land, and all our loyal friends among the people of New Guinea and elsewhere. We think of every man, woman and child who in those crucial years died so that the lights of freedom and humanity might continue to shine. May we and our successors prove worthy of their sacrifice, lest we forget. I'd like to move my motion that Council recognises the local Anzac Day commemoration and thank all the organisers for maintaining this strong local tradition in Georges River. Does anybody want to say anything further? Deputy Mayor, Councillor Lansbury, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will thank you for your words about your service that you attended. I just wanted to bring to Council's attention that along with Councillor Mort and Councillor Elmere, we attended St Mark's at Southhurst School's annual Anzac service yesterday afternoon. Every year they have a guest speaker, which this year's speaker was Wing Commander Ivan Benitez Aguirre, and he addressed us speaking from his personal experience in Afghanistan, which was very moving. I'm quite sure Councillor Elmere and Councillor Mort would concur with that. He talked about the fact that he's often asked whether it was worth it, and he said absolutely, and he told us a few situations of a young child whose life was saved, and an older woman who managed to get out of the country, and they were able to do that. His response to that was because they were there, and I think that was really valuable information for him to share with us. But there were also a number of other speakers from the Turkish community, the RSL, and New Zealand, and St Mark's at Southhurst Hall should be commended for putting this together, this service. Wilf Ewens, one of the church members of the parish, puts it together each year. And this year it was great to see a lot more people there. People are coming back. They still do the service online, but we're able to have the honour of laying a wreath on behalf of the council. Councillor Elmere, I think you laid one as well. So I just wanted to bring that to council's attention today.
Thank you, Councillor Lansbury. Does anybody else want to make any comments? Okay, having said that, I will put my motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried, and we now go to condolences. Do we have, Christy, did you say you had some condolences? Yeah. Thank you.
I'd like to acknowledge the passing of Ying Yang, who was a staff member at Georges River Council. Ying passed away on the 10th of April after battling cancer for the past 16 months. Sorry.
Yeah. Ying was born in Shanghai in 1972 and moved out here with her husband Joe 24 years ago. Ying has been with council since September 2005, and throughout this time was a valued and much loved early childhood educator at Penshurst Long Daycare. Ying was a warm, authentic and caring educator who built wonderful relationships with children, families and staff at the centre. She had a passion for helping others and was incredibly generous by nature. Our deepest sympathies are with Ying's family, particularly her husband Joe and her daughter Annie at this time, as well as the early learning staff who have lost not just a colleague but a dear friend.
Thank you. Our condolences do go to her family. Could we please stand for 1 minute silence? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Okay, thanks. Councillors, we now go to the reports of the committees. The first report is the report of the Environment and Planning. Councillor Catherine Lansbury. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to pull out item ENV 007-23, if I may. So if you pull that one out, and I'll move items 008, 009, 10 and 11. If we can get a second to
Yeah, we've got a secretary in Councillor Wayne. Thank you.
I second that.
Yeah, we'll put those. Does anyone want to discuss anything on those items? No. I'll put those. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried. Now we can go to the one that you pulled out.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. So,
Councillor Leslie. Yeah.
this is item ENV 007-23, the Beverly Hills Town Centre Master Plan, a way forward. I wanted to propose an amendment, and I think that is going to end up becoming part point O at the end of the recommendation that we see on the screen, but I will read it. That council endorse consideration of a housing investigation area in the next review of the local strategic planning statement undertaken in 2025 in the area bound by B2 zoned land, Carhill Street, Morgan Street and Stony Creek Road.
We have a seconder in Councillor Wayne. Would you like to talk to Councillor Lansbury? Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I will speak to it. Firstly, thank you to our speakers that we're here tonight on this particular item. For a bit of context, for those that might not be aware, we discussed this item at the Environment and Planning Committee meeting a couple of weeks ago, and there was a particular item J that ended up being removed from the recommendation, which it was basically council very similar to this that I'm proposing tonight, but it was endorsing that a housing investigation area study be conducted in 2025 as separate to the master plan. And unfortunately, we didn't get through at a committee level. After some discussion with some of the other councillors, we've come up with this alternate point, which is that it be the housing investigation area be included within the next review of the local strategic planning statement. Now, the reason that I wanted to do this, and I spoke probably rather passionately because I really believe in this particular issue at the committee, and I won't go through all of that again, but basically we are experiencing a housing crisis in this country, and it's incumbent upon every level of government, council, state and federal, to address it in whatever way we can. There's been a lot of discussion in the media for the last few months. Today, you know, there was half a dozen articles in the Sydney Morning Herald about this. They're doing a special series about housing affordability and the lack of housing available to our residents and people in general. It's not just existing residents, it's people who might want to move into the area, and I think one of our speakers tonight alluded to people who might want to move into Beverly Hills. As I said at the planning committee, a housing investigation is not going to resolve the housing crisis in Australia or in Georges River, but it's a step towards looking at what we can do to increase the densities in a manageable way that our community will accept. And if there is an investigation in 2025, around the same time as our local strategic planning statement is more than likely due for review, because the director tells me that it's the sort of thing that after 5 years that it should be done, it's a timely opportunity for us to investigate how we can possibly increase densities in that part of the world. I'm not advocating high rise. In the master plan that went on out on exhibition in 2020, I think it was, recommended that this particular area be looked at rezoning as R4. Well, I didn't support that then. I don't support that now. But I think we need to be open to the idea of what extra densities can we include in locations such as Beverly Hills that are right near a railway station. That's the perfect location for increased densities, whether it's an R3, you know, a mixture of townhouses or villas or something like that, which in turn would help stimulate the local economy for some of those businesses that are potentially dying off through lack of use and patronage by some of the other existing residents of the community. I think we all agree that Beverly Hills needs to be revitalised. The only way that we're going to do that is to make some changes. We've put this to council on a couple of occasions before. and most of us here, if not all of us, didn't want to go forward with what we'd originally proposed. And I'm really grateful that we did, because one of the things in there that all of us had great concerns with was the compulsory acquisition component, which I would never endorse in any circumstances. I think that's an awful way to go. And I recall hearing a consultant say in one of our briefings, it was referred to as displacement of private landholders, which is a very dispassionate way of describing acquiring somebody's home. I could never advocate for that. And I'm not advocating for that with this amendment, councillors. I'm just asking you to be open to the option of, in a couple of years' time, our council officers, in consultation with the community and with us, investigate the opportunity of increasing some density around there, which might mean that when you're people who live in that part of the world or within our LGA, their kids have got the opportunity to live down the road rather than the other side of Sydney, because that's all they can afford. We all have to do our bit. It's just at that time, we cannot keep kicking this down the road. We have to be really mindful that 30% of the economy now rents. That's vastly more than what used to be. There's rental crisis. There is a housing affordability crisis for young people. And now we're starting to talk about the only way that we're going to head down that road of generational wealth, that the only way that people are ever going to get ahead is if they're fortunate enough to inherit it from their family. Well, we can't resolve all of that. I'm not asking you to do that, but I'm asking you to please be open to including this in a review in a couple of years' time to see if we can actually do our part as Georges River. And it's not only Beverly Hills that has been affected. We've done similar studies in other parts of the LGA, in Narwee and Riverwood and parts of Hurstville and previously in South Hurstville and other areas in the former Cogra. Everybody has to do their part. And until such time as people relax a little bit and allow for a little bit more density and revitalisation of their neighbourhoods, our neighbourhoods are going to continue to die because there's not going to be the patronage from the people that live there. I would love to see Beverly Hills revitalised, and I do disagree with one of our speakers to think that what we're proposing is not going to be taken up. I'm quite sure that it will be, but we just need to scale down from what was originally proposed, because our community, our existing community there, and the councillors sitting around this table wouldn't accept that. And so what we're proposing our council officers come back with now is much more palatable to us as councillors. And I'm quite sure that the community will see that too when it goes out on exhibition, and they've got the opportunity to participate in that process. So by adding this one extra point, I hope that we can actually endorse this recommendation tonight, so our council officers can go away and come back with in a few months' time with a master plan to go back out on exhibition, which is more in keeping with what councillors advised our director and staff as to what we would be accepting of, and I'm quite hopeful the community will be as well. But this was just a way of getting it back in, so I'm seeking your support on this because I think it's a really valuable inclusion in a very important document, and it is the right place for it, given the fact that it was flagged in the original master plan. So, councillors, I'm seeking your support for this point O.
Thank you, Councillor Lansbury. Councillor Wang, you're the seconder. Would you like to talk to us? Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. So the Beverly Hill Master Plan is one signature. The LGA. So I'd like to thank the staff for their dedication and professional work for the past 5 years. And I would also like to thank the community for their continuous constructive feedback. Like any master plan, it's going to be contentious. But I'm very proud to say for the past year or so, our councillors and staff, together with our local MP and current Premier, Chris Minns, have been listening to the community and have successfully removed the compulsory acquisition from the master plan. That's a huge win for the community, and now it's time to get the master plan over the line. We owe the community the certainty they deserve, and we should do it with extreme diligence. So that's why at the last committee meeting, I moved to remove the HIA item from the Beverly Hills Master Plan resolution to avoid just to avoid the confusion it may cause to the master plan. I fully appreciate that there are some concerns about the scope of the B2 zone in the eastern side. On the eastern side, there are also some concerns about the infrastructure in the Beverly Hills in general, including car park and the traffic. And the master plan is also under the shadow of a planning proposal on the western side. So we still have a lot of work to do. And we really should not have another unnecessary distraction for the master plan. Now, with this amendment, it's crystal clear this house inspection area is not a part of the master plan and it will be part of the local strategy planning statements as it should be. So I'm supportive of this motion and seek your support, councillors. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wade. Does anyone want to speak against the motion? No one against the motion, so I'll put it. Did you want to speak against it?
No.
Who's got the light on?
Me.
Did you want to
No,
clarify?
can I speak for it, Mr. Mayor?
Okay, I'll let you speak for it.
Mr. Mayor, I get up and speak for it, but I want to bring up a couple of points. And Councillor Lansbury, Deputy Mayor Lansbury, alluded to a couple of newspaper articles most recently. And I think they're the same articles that I've been referring to, but one of them is worse than we thought, in inverted commas. New South Wales massive housing shortfall revealed by Michael Kosiol in the Sydney Morning Herald on April 20th. Mr. Mayor, we do have a significant housing shortfall in New South Wales, worse than what we had originally thought of. In previous, they talked about 36,000 residents, delivering 36,000 new residents in Sydney every year. That figure has been revised, and we actually need to provide 62,000 residents every year, as brought up by Minister Paul Scully. We have a significant problem. I'll read this comment from the Herald. Okay. Departmental briefing documents seen by the Herald show that the state is expected to deliver just 36,000 new homes a year for the next 5 years, when it needs 62,800 new homes. A shortfall the Planning Minister Paul Scully described as greater than we thought. Now, this is where it all starts. This is when you start getting affordable housing prices, right? We are a free market here in Australia, right? If you meet the demand with the supply, you'll keep things fairly even, right? And the growth continues with what people are earning and what they're spending and all those sorts of things. The moment that demand exceeds the supply, you start getting an extremely competitive situation where only those that can afford it can get themselves into what they want, right? That is not a fair playing field. Right now, understandably, right, development, new development is always a very taboo subject when brought up in front of councillors and the community, and people sort of like to steer away from the fact that we actually need to meet our requirements for our community. I'm a person that has always been, let's be part of the solution. Let's discuss this so that we can find an amicable way forward that the community can tolerate, right? And also, it makes it financially feasible, like we heard today from our speakers, whether it be Dr. Bowser, Gavin Sharp, or Ian Cady, right? That the market is actually going to build and deliver, right? Because if it doesn't stack up financially, if the banks don't look at it and say, you know what, that seems like a decent enough project for us to fund so that you can deliver on this project, then nothing gets delivered. Now, Mr. Shaw mentioned that, since 1910, Beverly Hills has changed significantly. Yes, it has, right? It does have a major road going through it. It's also got a railway going through it, right? But those are the sort of infrastructure that we need, and that's where we should be building our housing supply, right? Because it's the infrastructure that can cope with increased densities, right? And I've always been an advocate for increasing densities around railway and major highways, right? Because that's where you can provide the affordable housing. Right now, anyone spending more than 30%, 35% of their weekly wage on whether it be rent or a mortgage, right, is cutting it close on the poverty scale, because there's still cost of living pressures like groceries, phone bills, motor vehicle expenses, schooling expenses, right? Before you know it, you're actually broke by the end of the week, right? Unless we fix up the supply issue, we're going to continue having this problem, right? And people that are renting are going to find it harder and harder, right? And those that want to get their foot in the door, right? Some of us have got teenage children, right? By the time they get into their 20s and they want to crack the housing market, and we're already behind 10 years of 30,000 residents every year, right? That is a hell of a lot of residents that our children won't be able to afford. So, Mr. Mayor, I think it's extremely important that we have a very sensible, mature discussion about this. No one is going out there to compulsory acquire, and I think that fear factor within the community needs to be addressed, right? We're not going out there to compulsory acquire, but I think that when we do a master plan, let's do it right, because these things are built once, right? They're done correctly, they will be built once, and they'll be there forever. Let us be proud of something that we're going to deliver, rather than doing band-aid repairs all over our city, when we can actually create a city with proper urban development and the urban planning that I think our community deserves of us. So, Mr. Mayor, I support this motion, and I ask that councillors remain open-minded about what council officers are putting together for us. Yes, they have been working on this for a number of years. There are a few little bits and pieces here and there that we probably disagreed with. One of them being a compulsory acquisition scenario, even though Dr. Bowser did actually bring up a very valid point, right? There is that misinformation out there that people think their home's going to be compulsory acquired at the value that they are today. When realistically, the valuation actually occurs to whatever uptake in any zoning or density would have occurred to the surrounding properties, and they would have been paid accordingly, right? However, now that's out of the picture, right? Let's make sure that we do proper urban planning, we get the densities that are needed to meet the housing targets, to ensure that our children in the future are going to be able to afford to purchase a place in the local area, right? And that we can continue providing housing at an affordable rate. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Meara. Is anybody wanting to speak against this motion? No? I'm going to put it, but I'd just like to say a couple of words, because both speakers have clearly articulated our real and serious and significant problem. We have to address it, and we have to address it quickly. This problem is not something we can say, let's do a master plan and look at it in 5 or 6 years. We need to address it now. The issue is facing us now. As far as I'm concerned, when I hear that in areas where it's a lower socioeconomic disadvantage areas, the houses, 3 bedrooms with the walls almost falling apart, 3-bedroom houses, $850 rent. When I hear that if you're going to if you're going to rent a 2-bedroom unit, again in the socially disadvantaged areas, you're talking about $700 a week, a 2-bedroom unit. Councillors, I don't know if we're sort of putting our heads in our sand and believe that market forces will solve the problem at some stage when the developers decide to actually build more and there's going to be a surplus of them, that the prices might drop. I don't know if you've ever seen that caption, this old fellow with a beard down to the ground saying he was one of those that was waiting for the prices to drop. But what I'm concerned with, it's not about us. It's not about the old people, the seniors that have already got their quarter-acre block, and in some places, more than a quarter-acre block. More. And we don't want to share it with the youth. It's all ours. We want to keep it, but we don't want to share it with the youth. How selfish is that? How selfish. We've got young councillors here that got elected, and I hear them, and they talk to me, and they tell me, we can't buy a unit, we can't get a deposit. When I was much younger, well, only a few years ago, but when I was much younger, you could buy a house at 5 times your income. Now we're talking 25 times your income. to buy a house. Is that really fair? We hog the land as older people so that those kids can't do what they're supposed to be doing. As a matter of fact, I'll stick my neck out and I'll say, if the council officers want to come back with something a little bit more in terms of floor space ratio, a little bit more in density, I'm happy to look at it. If you want to try and keep it within the heights that we've put in this, and don't forget, it's a principles. It's not a master plan. It's a principles resolution. I'm happy to look at something a little bit greater in density, which equates to floor space ratio. Let's be a little bit more open-minded, as the Deputy Mayor said. You know, there are a lot of places all over the world where they can't afford what we've got. A quarter-acre block, and some places are over 1,000 square metres each. So I commend the amendment by the Deputy Mayor. I commend the passion that both speakers spoke with, and I suggest all councillors who are reticent to allow proper development to take place, good development. I'm not talking about high-rise slums. I'm talking about good quality development that everybody can live in and everybody can enjoy. So, councillors, start rethinking your objection and obsession against higher densities. Thank you, and I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. Thank you. Unanimous. Now, we will go to the report of the Finance and Governance Committee. Councillor Ball.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move the recommendation that the Finance and Governance Committee recommendations for items FIN 012-23 to FIN 016-23 as detailed in the report are adopted by Council.
Thank you, Councillor Ball. Does anyone want to speak? I've got Councillor Jamieson, I think. She's seconding it. Does anybody want to pull out any of the items and speak to them? No? Okay, well, I'll put that. All those in favour of the motion to adopt the report of the Finance and Governance Committee, please say yes. Aye. Aye, sorry. Oh, I changed it. All those against say no. Okay, thank you. Now we're going to the report of the Assets and Infrastructure Committee held on of April 2008. Councillor Colleen Symington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the Assets and Infrastructure Committee recommendations for items ASS 008-23 to ASS 009-23 as detailed in the report be adopted by Council.
Thank you, Councillor Symington. Does anyone want to pull anything out? Oh, you're seconding it. Thank you, Councillor Konzalski. Anyone pulling anything out? No? Okay, well, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried. We'll now go to the operational plan 2022-26, 2026 delivery program, updated resources, and I missed one, did I? Oh, sorry, community and culture. Councillor Lou. Sorry about that, Councillor Lou.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just try to move all the recommendations are printed in the report as of 3 items or or in the report. Thank you.
Now we've got a secondary, Councillor Konjalski. Has anyone want to talk to any item? Pull it out? No? Well, I'll pull it. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried, and we're now going to the draft 2023-24 operational plan, delivery program and updated resources. I've got Councillor Bork and sorry.
Councillor Lou. Sorry, just
Sorry,
turn the microphone on. So I'll just move the council officer's recommendation on this.
Okay.
And if I could have a second, I'll just say a few words.
I've got a seconder in Council, I think it was Councillor Elmere. All right. Does anyone want to pull anything out? Okay, let's. Oh,
would like to say a couple of
would you
words.
like to say
Yes,
something?
please.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you,
Thanks.
Councillor Moore.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to just say there's a huge amount of work that goes into bringing together this motion tonight, which covers the draft operational plan, including the all-important budget, and the delivery program and the resourcing strategy. And I'd like to thank Ms. Parker, our Acting Director of Business and Corporate Services, and her team for bringing this all together, and for all of the staff from all of the directorates who have given councillors extensive briefings on the draft budget. It's important to note that this is a draft budget. So what councillors are doing tonight is endorsing this draft to go on public exhibition. And if the community feels strongly that something should or shouldn't be included in the 2023-24 budget, the next 28 days is your chance to let councillors and the council officers know by having your say and writing a submission on the budget. So I'd just like to congratulate the staff for the extensive work on this draft, and hope the community takes the opportunity to voice their opinion on the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bourke. The second, Councillor Amir, did you want to? Okay. Obviously, no one. Does anybody else have anything to say or go to bring up? Okay. I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried. And we're now going to the property matter, legal rights of access, Taylor Reserve, Lugano. Councillor.
Mr. Mayor, I move a procedural motion that we move this item to being the last item of this meeting to be discussed in a confidential closed session.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Seconder, Councillor Jamieson. Okay. Councillor Amir, you're the seconder.
Yep.
Is there any discussion on this matter? Yes, you're. Would you like to talk to a councillor?
I just comment that I'm moving this procedural motion as much of the contents of this matter is of commercial confidence to Georges River Council.
Councillor Almeida, did you want to say a few words in regard to your seconding of this procedural matter? No? Anybody against it? Yes, Councillor Jamieson, by all means.
The reason I'm against it, I think not to talk about the discussion of commercial. I think we need to put the motion first, and then if that motion has any commercial in confidence, and we can discuss the commercial agreement terms in that. But I think it is important that publicly we discuss, especially some of the issues that Mr. Russell Green has spoken about. And this is setting a precedence, or not setting a precedence, but I think it needs to be fair for transparency that we do discuss those issues, at least the questions that we can actually ask the staff, so people know why we are or aren't supporting basically the free or not free version of granting an access. So that's the reason why.
Thank you, Councillor Jamieson. Councillor Almeida, did you want to speak before?
I see the points that Councillor Jamieson is making, but they're specific to the actual motion, Mr. Mayor. The motion that's being put forward by Councillor Ficarra is actually a procedural motion. It's a procedural motion so that people can actually ask the questions that may be commercial in confidence, and therefore on discussing the motion that's actually before us, I think it's pertinent that we actually go into a closed session to discuss those matters, and therefore come out with a resolution in that closed session.
Okay, does anyone else want to speak against it? Just for the clarification of the gallery, what's been put to us at the present moment is that it goes into confidential, and the councillors will be, let's say, able to ask questions and also ask and get answers from the staff in a more, what you might call, relaxed manner. And then straight after that, after we've discussed the confidential item, the council would have a resolution, and the resolution will be made public as soon as we come out of confidential. Okay, so I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no.
No.
I think we'll have to go around the horseshoe. Ms. McKinley.
Your vote, please, Mr. Mayor.
For.
Councillor Borg.
Against.
Councillor Elmere.
For.
Councillor Ficarra.
For.
Councillor Jamieson.
Against.
Councillor Kinjarski.
For.
Councillor Lansbury.
For.
Councillor Liu.
For.
Councillor Marnie.
Against.
Councillor Mort.
Against.
Councillor Smerdley,
4.
Councillor Stratokopoulos,
4.
Councillor Symington,
4.
Councillor Wang,
4.
10 for, 4 against.
10 for. 10 for, 4 against. I declare it carried, and this will be heard along with the other confidential item. So we now go on to applications pursuant to Council Award Discretionary Fund Policy, April 2020. Councillor Ball.
Mr. Mayor, I believe is this the one you declared
I've
interest
got
on?
one that I've got in interest. If you want to move the rest of them, I'll look out for one. I'm
I
happy to
was
walk
planning
out.
to move the
I'll look out for one.
recommendation in full.
I'll walk out for the whole lot. Councillor Lance, we definitely.
Okay. The Mayor has left the room. Councillors, we're dealing with item CCL 031-23, applications pursuant to Council Award Discretionary Fund Policy, April 23. Councillor Borg.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I move that the applications for funding pursuant to the Council's Award Discretionary Fund Policy as outlined in the report be approved.
Thanks, Councillor Borg. Do I have a seconder?
I second that, Madam Chair.
Seconded by Councillor Elmere. Is there any discussion? No? Okay, how about we put it? All those in favour? Anyone against? Great, we'll declare that one carried. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is a property matter dealing with the granting of an easement to drain water in Smith Park, Kingsgrove. Councillor Ellie.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move the council officer's recommendation.
Thank you. Who was the second? I've got Councillor Symington. Thank you. Is there any discussion, Councillor Ball? Do you have seconder, Councillor Symington? Anyone against this one? I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried. We have a notice of we're now going into the notice of motions. The first one is from Councillor Peter Marnie, administration and variations to existing contracts. Councillor Marnie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to move the motion as it's open in the paper. Thank you.
Thank you. The seconder, Councillor Borg. Is there any discussion on this one? Did you want to? No. Well, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried, and we're now going to lighting up of the Hurstville Civic Precinct for World Inflammatory Bowel Disease Day 2000. Councillor Symington. I have Councillor Smerdley as the seconder. Well, oh, you were the seconder. Sorry, Councillor.
Oh, be kind. Be kind. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'll move my motion as read, seeing as you read it out for me. Thank you very much. I want to thank Cara Punch for speaking in support of my motion. I know Cara is severely impacted by this condition, and she's very passionate about this cause. Councillors, Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis are two of the most common types of inflammatory bowel disease. There are no cures, and they are serious long life illnesses. As I've said, I personally know other people that are impacted every day in their life, and it's not pleasant. Unfortunately, Australia has one of the highest rates and prevalence and incidence in the world, and each year more young people are diagnosed. IBD costs Australia $3.1 billion each year in hospital costs, productivity losses and economic costs. there are only nominal costs in lighting up the building in purple, but there are infinite benefits in raising awareness. It will encourage conversations and promote a better understanding of these diseases. We would be recognising the IBD community just as other areas in Australia will be doing on May 19th. So I hope you can support my motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Symington. Councillor Smirty, did you want to talk to it? Councillor
Yes, thank you.
sorry about that.
No, sorry. So as a sufferer of Crohn's, this is quite dear to my heart, and if we can bring some attention and raise awareness to this disease, I think that as long as we can get funding or attract funding from various departments and go towards research in this not so pleasant disease, so I think let's do it.
Thank you, Councillor Konchowski. Any further discussion? There being no further discussion, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried. We now got questions with notice. If anyone's got any further questions on the answers that they were provided with their questions on notice, I'm happy to take them. There being none, we then move to the confidential session. Councillor Mayor.
Oh, you need to. I move that we go into confidential session, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Smerdley. The procedure to move into confidential session. At this point in time, the meeting will move into committee of the whole to allow consideration of a matter in closed session in accordance with Section 10A of the Local Government Act 1993, that in accordance with Section 10A Clause 2 of the Local Government Act 1993, Council enter into closed session to discuss Olds Park public amenity demolition, that's CCL 016A-23, and a property matter, CCL 030-23, legal rights of access to Taylor Reserve, Lugano, that in accordance with the provision of Part 1 of Chapter 4 of the Local Government Act 1993, the matters dealt with in this report be considered in closed council meeting at which the press and public are excluded. In accordance with Section 10A(2)(c), it is considered the matter of information that would, if disclosed, confer a commercial advantage on a person with whom the council is conducting or proposes to conduct business, that in accordance with Section 10D, it is considered that if the matter were discussed in open council meeting, it would, on balance, be contrary to the public interest, as it information would, if disclosed, confer a commercial advantage on a person with whom the council is conducting or proposes to conduct business. Accordingly, members of the press and the public are excluded from the closed session, and access to the correspondence and reports relating to the items considered during the course of the closed session will be withheld. I ask the General Manager if there have been any written representations of objection from the public. Thank you. So we do have a procedural motion moved by Councillor Elmere, seconded by, if I remember, who was it? Councillor Smurley. Just to make clear, we will be going into a closed session, but you're welcome to come back after the closed session to hear what the council has resolved. So we'll, so I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried and shut the lights. Ready to go, Mr. Mayor? Ready to go. Yeah, I'll just read out the resolution. You read out you need to. Yeah, I think I need to repeat the resolution. Yeah, you need to have a vote on it. Yeah, repeat the whole resolution. Now, Where we go?
You need to do all.
Yeah, okay, we'll do Olds Park first. It is a motion that was moved, a recommendation moved by Councillor Simonton, seconded by Councillor Konjowski, and it was passed. And it reads A, that council endorse the utilisation of the existing Olds Park Premium Sporting Facility 2022-2023 budget of 250,000 to commence both the detailed design and demolition of the Olds Park East Public Amenity Building in order to meet the grant milestone. B, that council writes to the Minister of Sport seeking a variation to the multi-sport community facility fund milestone to grant an extension to the project's scheduled construction start milestone so that the existing facility is not demolished until designs are approved and construction tenders awarded. That should this extension not be granted by the 15th of May 2023, then the demolition proceeds according to item A. I don't know, the record of voting is there indicated, and it was noted that the motion was carried unanimously. Now we go to the next one, which is an amendment, but moved by Councillor Simonton and seconded by Councillor Lear. Sorry, we got it? Yeah. That a right-of-way or easement for access brackets property rights be created in favour of Lot 2 in DP 506903 only on the same terms as that of 1053, 1055, 1057 and 1061B and 1061 Forest Road, Lugano, were granted access, i.e. no cost, and B, any future requests for access to lots 1 and 2 are to be in accordance with appropriate commercial terms and to be assessed on its merits. Do we put this again? No, don't put them again, it's just a...
You need a full formation to adopt the resolution.
Yeah, could I, Councillor Mayor, motion to adopt the resolutions in the confidential closed session, moved by Councillor Elmi, seconded by Councillor Konjowski. Does anyone want to talk to this? No. I'll put it. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. Declare it carried unanimously. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, before we close the meeting, I just noticed something, but I didn't bring it up at the time. If you go back to the mayoral minute, there was a motion that you moved, which I left for because I declared an interest, but it appeared that I was present for the vote.
Oh, you weren't?
Yeah.
Councillor Lear wasn't present.
That's right. No, not that one, sorry, Marissa. I think the one above it. Yeah. Thank you. Tough.
Well, councillors, people in the gallery, thank you very much for attending. I declare the meeting closed at 2 minutes past 10.